Go for the midnight dares. Go for the game. Go for the hits. Go for the fans. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
And once again, welcome back, everybody, to this edition of Draft Takes 2022. I'm Derek Gunn. It's presented by IBEW Local 98. Mark Lynch, the business manager. Of course, we had my good friend and colleague Les Bowen on a short while ago. When the Eagles made the first of two selections in round number 6, they traded out of the 7th round. And with their second pick in the sixth round, they pick up a tight end, Grant Calcaterra, out of SMU. Les, from what I understand, he played at Oklahoma first and then transferred to SMU. Can you provide us with any more detail about him?
No.
Okay.
I do know he's had a lot of trouble with concussions. I just read that after hearing about him for the first time when they picked him. But, yeah, apparently, medical concerns caused him to drop in the draft. He ran a good 40 time. There's certainly, I think, a spot there, at least, practice squad, backup type spot in the tight end rotation for the Eagles right now. Of course, he's got to fight off that J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, who's, really going to make a big push as a tight end this year, probably. But, and for fans that are concerned that, oh my God, they made their last pick and they still didn't get a corner or a safety. Well, you're not going to get a difference-making corner or safety at this point in the draft anyway.
No.
And the important thing to remember here is because of COVID and the extra year of eligibility granted last year, there was a much smaller pool of players. And the guys that weren't drafted, it was a very shallow, almost drought-ridden pool. This year, there's like 700 players or something declared for the draft. They only draft about a third of those. So there's going to be mayhem signing these UDFAs, and there's going to be guys that you can get that might help you. They won't be probably all pros, but they're going to sign some guys here that will make the team, probably corners and safeties at some point, at least practice squad backup type guys in those positions. And, the draft isn't over when the draft is over, I guess is what I'm saying.
I know a lot of people on the outside looking in, when you get down to round 6 and 7, it doesn't pique a lot of people's interest, but history has shown that you do find some diamonds in the rough, in these later rounds. Obviously, when you're picking this late, a lot of times it's just a stroke of luck. But when you think about names like Troy Brown, Seth Joyner, Marcus Colston, Donald Driver, Terrell Davis, and a guy named Tom Brady, who just happened to be drafted in the 6th round, every now and then you do come across that rare gem.
Sure.
But Les, when you
Jordan Mailata is
Jordan Mailata, perfect example. And look at him now. He's getting paid millions, Les. Oh my goodness.
That's Derek Gunn money there. Yeah.
Who? Hey, but when you look at the overall draft, what the Eagles have done here, let's start with Jalen Hurts, because a lot of the focus is going to continue to be on Jalen Hurts for some time to come. And before the draft, all we heard about is Jalen Hurts doesn't have enough weapons. If you're going to put this pressure on Jalen Hurts, you got to give him some toys to play with. Well, now they go out and they get a primetime receiver in A.J. Brown to go along with last year's first-round draft pick, and you're hoping that Quez Watkins takes a step forward in his development. We're still waiting to see what John Hightower can add to this offense as well. But when you look in Dallas Goedert as a pass catcher, obviously one of the better tight ends in the game. So when you look at now the wealth of talent that Jalen Hurts has at his disposal this year, how much more pressure is he under the microscope now? We do take into consideration that he's only had 1 year as a starter in the National Football League, but it's year 2 in the same offense, and now he's been given more weapons to play with.
Yeah, he sure has. I think he's probably going to see it as a positive. I mean, he's apparently very close to A.J. Brown. They've been working out together. He went to A.J.'s daughter's birthday party. He's going to, welcome this, but it certainly does set up a situation for evaluating him that is pretty cut and dried. There won't be a lot of, he didn't have this and he didn't have that. And, assuming people stay healthy, the O-line stays healthy, this will give them clarity. If he stays healthy, Jalen Hurts, clarity on whether he's their quarterback moving forward. And, I'm sure he welcomes that situation, but there is pressure there. Sure. This year is all about Jalen Hurts and whether he's the guy. They've strengthened the team around him that was 9-8 last year against a pretty easy schedule. And, he's going to be expected to lead a team into the playoffs, not to dominate the league or anything, but I think they're going to expect to win 10 games, don't you think?
No, I agree and I do think 10 games could possibly win the NFC East this year. I think, and I've said this time and time again, I think right now Dallas has the best overall talent in the division, but Dak Prescott has never won a big game, and they're coached by Mike McCarthy, so I think that balances the playing field a little bit more. How do you perceive it?
Yeah, I thought last year Dallas had by far and away the best talent in the division.
Yep.
I don't think Dallas has had a great offseason, really, frankly. I don't, from what little I know, I'm not blown away by their draft, and I wasn't blown away by their free agency. They lost some guys I thought that were pretty good. So I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be as far ahead of the Eagles as I thought they were last season.
Yeah.
And you're right about the coaching. I mean, that's a big part of this, and I'm not a Mike McCarthy guy.
What do you think about what Howie did in the draft this year overall in terms of addressing both sides of the football?
Well, I'm really kind of stunned that they ended up only drafting 5 players, assuming he doesn't do something to get back into the 7th round here or something. But, they began the draft with 10 picks. You can certainly see how they ended up with 5. I mean, you got A.J. Brown, you got Jordan Davis, you moved up several times here and there and got guys you wanted. But 5 picks, I expected, more help than that, I guess. They've got a lot of work to do with UDFAs and with veteran free agents, I think, in the coming weeks. I think we'll have to see something like Honey Badger or something like that for the secondary coming in. I don't think it's going to be up to the UDFAs and the guys that are already here to plug those holes. But I do like a lot of what he's done. I mean, you can't fault the 5 guys they got. I mean, I don't know anything about these last couple guys, but the 3 guys they drafted the first 2 days and A.J. Brown, sure.
And Les, the one thing that I've been harping on the last couple of days that I like the most, that last year, Howie finally dipped into the SEC to take a first-round pick, and he goes back this year. The conference that this organization had neglected for so many years, and we kept wondering on the outside looking in, why did you not pick players from the SEC? All of a sudden, somebody got in Howie's ear and told him, hey, you want premier players, that's the conference you start with.
Yeah, I guess so. He talked a lot about how much time they'd spent at Georgia this year. They ended up with two Georgia players in the first 3 rounds. I think maybe he thought for a while that, everybody scouts the SEC so thoroughly that maybe you find a more of an undiscovered gem or something in Pac-12. But what he found more often, I mean, they got Zach Ertz and a lot of guys from the Pac-12, but they also got Donnell Pumphrey and guys like that. And more often than not, the level of play tricked them into thinking they had something they didn't with some of these guys. And, I don't think there's very much of that in the SEC. It's not to say everybody who goes to school at Georgia or Alabama is going to be a star NFL player. That's not true. But you're not going to misevaluate because of the level of competition.
Hey, Les, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to talk to me today. I know you have deadlines and commitments, but as always, thank you for hopping on board here with us on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel and being a part of this year's edition of Draft Takes, my friend.
My pleasure, Gunner. Take care.
You too. All right, we're going to go from the East Coast all the way out now to the left coast and bring in a guy who is one of my favorites, man. I mean, he's always raring to go. I don't know if this man ever sleeps, to be honest with you.
Never.
But you know him as Big Sills. He is Dan Sileo of the National Football Show, which is a significant part of the JAKIB Media YouTube channel family. And Big Sills, how's life on the West Coast, brother?
Well, you know, once I get out of Commie, California, after my daughter ends up leaving the University of Grand Canyon University, I will be back on the East Coast. I promise you this. The one thing I've learned, D-Gun, is this. I could talk to the people in Philly, and my wife says this to me all the time. Who would have ever thought Philadelphia would have been the city that you would have parachuted in, where everyone looks at you and goes, Sileo, are you from South Philly? I'm like, why do you have that rear end attitude like you're from South Philly? I'm like, she goes, you fit in so well. And really, man, it's really been a lot of fun. Really, really been a lot of fun so far.
Now, you said you're going to relocate to the East Coast. Are you coming to Philadelphia or are you going somewhere else?
Florida.
Are you going back to Florida?
I'm saving my money, D-Gun, as we get older. Nobody moves north, D-Gun. They move south.
No, man. Hey, you know, I used to live in San Diego, and that's my #1 favorite city in all of America. Unfortunately, I told my wife, who's from Southern California, hon, I hate to break your heart, but we cannot afford to move back to California anymore. I couldn't afford an Adobe hut in Southern California right now.
A tree hut goes for around $175,000. Yeah. And I told my wife this too. I'm like, sweetheart, it's the best place on the planet, but even the bums are at $100,000 level, and that's not good enough to live out. Even the people that live on the street make $100,000. They all got cell phones. They're all going like this. Hey, put that E-Trade in.
Exactly.
Not for me. I got to save my money.
How much is my Bitcoin worth today?
Well, you know they're handing those out like they're handing out food stamps out here in California.
Oh, jeez. All right, man. Let's talk a little football. I want to hone in on the Philadelphia Eagles because that's what we do here. And you have been critical of Howie Roseman and his drafts in recent years. So initially off the top, I need your thoughts on how you felt the Eagles did this year in terms of drafting and addressing both sides of the football, even though they gave up a lot of draft capital to get a few players, but looks like marquee players, man.
Quantity too. You know, it's the quality and the quantity of what they did in this draft here. And I was talking about this other day, Derek, and that was the sequence of needs on this football team. You know, you got to add A.J. Brown into the evaluation of this draft because he gave up draft capital to get him.
That's right.
So they needed a veteran wide receiver in the room. They got it. And not only just a veteran wide receiver, but a veteran wide receiver that fits the system. They're a run-dominant team. He comes from a run-dominant team. That's the Tennessee Titans. It's not, to me, a guy like Tyreek Hill coming to Philadelphia. Okay, we still got to figure whether or not Jalen Hurts is the quarterback. We're trying to figure that out now. Well, getting two burners on each side doesn't really fit the makeup of what they're going to do and how they go about moving the chains. They're a 38 carry team. They want to cut that down, D-Gun, to at least 25 carries and have more where they're 25 carries at 4.5 yards a carry creates more, again, on play action pass for Jalen, which means the tight end will become more effective in this offense. You're going to have now a playmaking Michael Irvin type player and A.J. Brown. That's how I look at him. I look at him as a Michael Irvin, third down wide receiver that's going to catch footballs to move the sticks. Then you got on the other side, you've got Devontae Smith. He's going to have more open lanes, in my opinion, because of the addition of A.J. Brown. And I'll say this to you too, D-Gun, one thing is for sure.
Yeah.
I did not believe they were going to give Jalen Hurts the opportunity to succeed. Howie Roseman now is doing what they're doing with Chris Greer down in Miami and with Tua Tagovailoa. You have the chance to succeed now.
Right.
We've got you the commodities. Go out and show us if you're the guy, whether or not you can go out and move the sticks. So getting AJ was enormous. And to me, that's the crowning achievement in this draft. I said on the Jordan Davis deal on Friday, prior to going into your guys' great broadcast covering the draft on Friday, or excuse me, Thursday night, I said if Jordan is between 11 and 14, it's cool to trade up. Go get him, couple picks. There were only 14 true first-rounders in this draft. There weren't 32 first-rounders. I think, Derek, by the time you got to 15,
right,
15 to 60, to me, I think these guys were all the same.
Okay.
I don't really think that there was that much, maybe an inch here, maybe an inch over here, maybe a 40-yard dash. And Davis was one of the 14. So to me, what you do is you're now getting the heir apparent. You've now increased your defensive front seven, so you look like the 2017 group where you have a good-looking front seven. Let's just do this, Derek. Let's pretend his floor is Vince Wilfork.
Okay.
Say he's not a 7-sack guy.
Yeah.
But I say his floor is Vince Wilfork, and his height could be a Fletcher Cox because Fletcher was a better pass rusher than what Vince was. If you have the best run-stopping defense in the NFL and you have the best run offense in the NFL, you're giving yourself a chance every single year to go out and win an NFC East.
Yeah.
Number one rush defense, number one rushing offense. You're going to be in every football game. Now it's all about moving the chains. And this comes back to Jalen. This draft was a lot about Jalen and improving that defensive side of the ball. By the way, with the addition of Jordan Davis, now the Hassan Reddick deal looks 10 times better because you addressed a rush end. Now you got in the middle of your defense. Then you got maybe the steal of the draft in Nakobe Dean. I'm going to make a comparison to you, Derek. I think Nakobe Dean, he reminds me a lot of Denzel Perriman. And where I go with Denzel Perriman is Denzel Perriman, by the way, made the Pro Bowl this past season with the Raiders.
That's
He's a 5'10" guy, not the big – and he's a Hurricane. Derek, when I saw him at Chargers camp, I was like this, holy crap, this guy is small. He'll never make it. He's been to multiple Pro Bowls. He's had 130 tackles, and I think Dean's better. I think Dean is more versatile. I think, Dean, when you play in a system like you do in Georgia, where you're going sideline to sideline, in my opinion, as long as his health, and I think sometimes the issues with his health and his shoulders are because of his size. But when you've got horses, and I don't know about you, maybe the Albert Haynesworth defensive tandem that they had up in Tennessee back in the day, I can't think of a better defense or bigger defensive tackles in NFL history than what the Eagles are going to have. So I really loved what they did. The Cam Jurgens deal, they probably looked at the center position for next year and said, is there a kid coming out? And they probably went like this. No. Derek, you know this as well as I do. If you don't have a great left tackle and a great center, you have no chance of winning an NFL championship.
That's right.
You have to have – because just so everyone knows, it's not so much the quarterback when he comes to the line of scrimmage, when he's setting the blocking schemes. The center does odd even. He'll go odd even, shade, slip, scoop. He'll be talking to the guys while the quarterback is setting the formation. You'll hear the center talking. The center and the quarterback are working because they got to work on pass protection.
Right.
If you don't have a very smart center in that process, you're going to be in massive trouble. And from what I'm hearing, I heard Jason Kelsey help the scouting department in identifying this kid from Nebraska, and he had input and said, this kid reminds me of myself. He's going to pick everything up. And to me, listening to players, plus your coaches, plus the personnel department, I get where people go, center, you have to have a great transition at left tackle and at center position. And when you do, it solidifies your old line. So overall, I'll say this to you about how he's drafting so far his offseason. Spectacular. Yep. And I'm hearing Honey Badger will probably be a member of the Philadelphia Eagles maybe by next week. So
really,
if you get all this signed, sealed, and delivered, in my opinion, the Philadelphia Eagles are the team to beat in the NFC East.
Wow. Wow. You heard it right here on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel and Draft Takes. I appreciate it. Hey, now let's go back to Nakobe Dean for a moment. I don't know how much of the Draft Takes show that you got a chance to see with us on Thursday night. Seth Joyner, Mike Quick, myself, Rob Ellis. And Seth and I were arguing back and forth about linebacking play and who we wanted to take. He wanted a bigger linebacker. I said, don't judge Nakobe Dean by his size. I said, if there was a linebacker that I would take in the first round, he is the only linebacker I wanted in the first round. I compared him to the smallest linebackers like the Devin Bush, Devin White, Michael Kendricks, all small guys who have excelled at the highest level in this game. When I look at Nakobe Dean, I'm looking at a heat-seeking missile. Sideline to sideline, he can track anybody down. He can run with most running backs in probably a National Football League. He can cover the tight end as well. And he is a blitz monster. He will find the open gaps with those big guys up front, chewing up space and commanding double coverage at any given moment. You got three behemoths now, or four behemoths now up front. Can Nakobe Dean come in there and have an immediate impact when you already have Kazir White, Hassan Reddick, who can put his hand down in the dirt or stand up? You know, we made fun of the Eagles linebacking position for years. Now it could be the strength of this team.
Here's and when you talk Bush, you got to remember Vita and Dominic Sue were in front of him.
Right.
Which gave him the ability. And to me, look at how Howie's looking at this. He's got two behemoths playing defensive tackle to protect Nakobe Dean the same way he was protected when he was at Georgia, so he can run the scrape line and go sideline to sideline.
Yes.
All due respect to Seth. That's a different NFL back then when you had to beat two and you had to beat LaVon Kirkland.
Yes.
You had to beat guys like that were 256 pounds inside linebackers. Now you've got to be more of the Derek Brookses, Derek. You've got to be a cover two guy because what are you being asked to do? And I've said this before about the Steelers. When they lost Ryan Shazier, in my opinion, of all the people that the Steelers have lost over the years, Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, whomever you could just throw out there, to me, the loss when he got paralyzed was that he was the Gronk killer because he could play the run, he could cover the linebacker, he could cover the seam, and he could cover the slot. You almost have to be like a Tampa 2-style defensive linebacker today, and those are usually around 215 to 218. It's a different league today. That's why guys like Denzel Perriman and Bush down in Tampa succeed. As long as you have horses in front of these guys. Here, Derek, here, always been the problem when you have smaller linebackers. Well, if don't have very good defensive tackles, unfortunately, this is the position I played. When you have defensive tackles in front of you that are getting blown off the ball or are unsure of what they're doing, okay, so now you move the scrape lane back. The linebacker has to move back. You're talking about 3 yards, 4 yards, just the guy falling forward. Yep. When you've got engaged defensive tackles, your linebacker goes up and down the line of scrimmage, and you're a formidable run defensive football team. That's the kind of player he is. You know, the problem you may see with him a little bit is because he plays with a reckless abandon, which I love.
Yep.
And that's also one of the reasons why he possibly gets injured in the shoulders because of the way that he plays. If he can stay healthy and get through a 17-game season, in my opinion, this could be, again, a guy that should have been taken around 21. You ended up getting in the third round. Fantastic move. I think it's really an absolutely fantastic play for them and what they've done.
The one thing that is so confusing about him is all of a sudden the day of the draft, the rumor comes out that he has this pec injury. Okay. And we know Yes, we know teams play games.
Agents do this. Agents do this too, so that they can get their guy drafted. Or again, other teams They go, this is why we passed on him. This is why they passed on him. You have so many.
That's
Dan
dirty.
Marino,
it's dirty, man. Dirty.
It's a dirty business. Dan Marino. Yeah. I mean, look what happened to the kid Tunsil, Derek.
Yes.
On the draft night,
yes.
Somebody from his family posted a marijuana bong hit, and the kid was supposed to be the 3rd pick in the draft. He went down in the 20s.
Yes.
Cost them millions of dollars. It's a dirty business. And from what I heard from Dean's saying, hey, I have no medical issues. I'm going to be there for mini camps. I mean, I'm going to take the kid's word for it. And I'm going to also talk to 2 coaches. I'm going to talk to Nick Saban, and I'm going to talk to Kirby Smart. By the way, I heard you say something. I want to address something you said.
Yeah.
About Howie going into the SEC.
Yes.
Not only are they the best talented kids, Derek, but they're the best coached.
Most pro-ready.
They're the reason why you're seeing less bust come out of those programs.
Yeah.
You're paying the offensive defensive coordinators just at Alabama alone $2.5 million.
Absolutely.
You're making head coaching money at Alabama as a coordinator and a position coach. Florida, Texas A&M, Tennessee, all of these places have the best coaches in the country. That's why when you go into the Southeastern Conference, you're not just getting the best talented kids because they go for exposure.
Right.
They go for the coaching. That's where it all is today. Pac-12, okay, not really. Big 12, I have problems with guys on defense in that conference. Offense, maybe I'm pretty cool with it, but they don't play a lick of defense. Why would I draft a ton of guys in premium picks out of the Big 12 when the majority of those players get killed on Saturdays? You think they're going to improve their game on Sundays?
Yeah.
Not me. So I loved what you said because the best coaching comes out of the Southeastern Conference.
Hey, before I let you go, Big Sales, in a general sense, who do you think had a great draft this year?
I tell you what, there's no question the Jets.
Boom. There you go.
The Jets, Joe Douglas. And I know if Howie Roseman is looking at his boys and looking at Andrew Barry in the offseason he's had in Cleveland, he's got to be looking up the pike there at the Jets. The Jets they pretty much drafted the best player almost in every single round this year, and they're going to get better. But the other team, there's one other team. And Derek, how many years do we say this? Jesus, criminy, those damn Ravens. I mean it,
every
man.
year with this team.
They never miss.
They don't miss.
They don't miss. They get guys like Ajabo. You're going like this. How do these people fall to them like that? Ozzie Newsome did such a great job at pouring the cement for that organization, and it's resonating to today.
He should still be on the pay staff for what he's done for that organization.
He's got to be a consultant in that conversation, man, because that organization, I'm just telling you, dude, okay? I'm just telling you, man, it is one of the absolutely best drafting rooms I've ever seen.
Hey, Big Sales, right now, we have over 600 people watching us live right now. I want everybody out there to pound that like button. Thanks for tuning in. Keep tuning in. We love it. Big Sales, I can't thank you enough, man, for taking the time to talk to me. I love talking football with you.
Hey, I got to tell you something, Derek. It's an honor for me, and I don't say that much.
Thank you, brother.
To people, because I tell you what, your reputation is awesome, and you've accepted me, and thank you so much. And it's truly an honor to be a friend of yours.
Thank you, brother. We're going to get you on our Sports Take show one day soon with me.
By the way, it's kicking ass.
Yes, it is. We have, thumbs up, brother. Keep telling all your friends on the West Coast about the show, and of course, we tell them about your show each and every day. And that cross promotion.
I know they do,
us, brother. You know what I'm saying?
I got you, man. I'm with you. I'm one of your boys now, Derek.
Yes, brother. All right, man. You take care of yourself. Go outside and enjoy some of that sunshine. Go down to Mission Beach. Sit in the sand, or go to the Lamp District. Have yourself a nice Mexican meal.
Coronas
Center, baby.
That's Joe Kraus. Coronas in the Dan Cave.
Man. All right, brother. Enjoy your day, man. All right, what a day we've had here on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel on this edition of Draft Takes. I'm going to thank all my guests who have been a part of this. had Ray Dittinger on, Seth Joyner, Barrett Brooks, Dave Zangaro, Les Bowen, and, of course, Big Sales himself, Dan Cilio. Can't thank you guys enough for tuning in, and keep punching that like button, because that's what we like to see. And we know that you are enjoying a lot of the information that we're passing out to you as well. Of course, this year's edition of Draft Takes is brought to you by IBEW Local 98. Mark Lynch is your manager. Hey, don't forget, Monday through Fridays from noon to 3 p.m., it's Sports Take right here on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel with Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis, and myself. We're going to have a lot of guests coming up this week. I'm not going to tell you who, but just stay tuned on social media platforms to find out who we're going to have coming up on the show in the upcoming week to talk some football, talk some NBA playoffs, talk some baseball as well. Hey, also, don't forget, for those of you who can, start making your summer plans right now at Ocean Casino Resort, the exclusive provider of all JAKIB Media content. Go for the beach. Go for the win. This has been Draft Takes presented by IBEW Local 98. Mark Lynch, your business manager. I'm Derek Gunn. For all of us here on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel, thanks for tuning in from Thursday through today, watching all of our draft coverage. The numbers have been through the roof. And also, if you want to find me elsewhere, you can also find me on my Gun on One podcast. My latest podcast has just come out. Barrett Brooks, former NFL player, joined me on the podcast to talk some Eagles and football in general. So until next time, so long, everybody.
In Philadelphia, we celebrated the miracle with pride only 5 years ago. And then the following morning, IBEW Local 98 members went back to work, building this city, rescuing our communities from decay, and inspiring the young men and women of the region to take pride in who we are. Like the Cats, Local 98 members believe in hope.
To learn more about who we are, what we do, and career opportunities with Local 98, visit us, IBEW98.org.